everybody and welcome to this video on functions. In this video, we look at what does it mean to be an increasing or decreasing function. So let us first look at the first case with increasing. So these three graphs over here in green are considered increasing functions. And what makes a function increasing is if the overall slope is positive. So in the first case, we have a straight line which has a constant positive slope, so that is increasing. As your x values increase, so do your y values. For the hyperbola over here, the gradient is positive, so it is in this direction here, which is the positive direction. However, it's not constant like in the straight line. There are cases where it is steeper and flatter. So the gradient is changing, but overall the gradient is positive. Over here we have an exponential function, and once again the gradient starts off being pretty flat. It almost looks like a straight line, and then it starts to increase quite rapidly. The overall gradient has the positive shape once again, so this is an increasing function. So these functions that we have looked at over here are increasing for the whole domain for which they exist. In the second case, we have decreasing functions. So here is a straight line graph again, but this time the gradient is negative. Here we have a hyperbola again, but again you can see the overall gradient is in the negative direction. And once again we have an exponential graph, and the exponential graph is also in the negative direction. So these ones are decreasing over the whole domain. The third group of functions we have here both increase and decrease. So the first one is a parabola, and a parabola always has an increasing part and a decreasing part. So it starts off with the decreasing part where the overall gradient is negative, and the gradient initially starts being very steep and gets flatter until the part over here when it's the turning point, and that is exactly where the gradient also starts turning, and now we have a increasing part. So the parabola has a decreasing part and an increasing part, and where it changes from being a decreasing to increasing part happens at the turning point. Over here we have a third degree graph, and once again there are pieces that are positive and pieces that are negative. So this piece over here and this piece over here, overall they have the positive gradient, and the part in the middle has a negative gradient, so it's decreasing. Over here we have our turning point, and after the turning point is when we have the change in whether it is increasing or decreasing. Finally, here's another example of a function. The first part over here is a increasing function, and we have a turning point once again, and then we have a decreasing function. So what you need to be able to do is have a look at a graph and determine whether it is increasing and whether it is decreasing, or if it's increasing and decreasing. And then you should also be able to determine for what values is it increasing. So to look at the values, we look at the x values. So for example, this graph is the parabola. It's decreasing from x being equal to this value all the way to negative infinity, and it is increasing for this value all the way to positive infinity. So you need to look at the corresponding x values to determine whether it is increasing or decreasing. Please, if you have not understood this, please watch the video again. It is very important to understand the concept of increasing and decreasing functions. It gives you a better understanding of the functions. And please watch our following videos for more information on functions.